Hey, it's Paul here from the Off the Comma podcast. And if you've been following the podcast, you already know that it's about amazing human beings sharing amazing stories about their experience with being stuck and getting unstuck. And you've probably wondered, hey, whatever happened to that guest? What's happened since they were on the show? So that's what this is all about. We are checking in with various podcast guests and just taking 15 minutes to see what's going on in their world. So, deeper connection, learning more about our guests, seeing how life unfolds for them. Enjoy this conversation, and we'll see you on the next one. Excited. We're back for another Off the Comma podcast guest check-in. And today we have Cami McLaren with us. And just like we've been doing with all of this series of interviews, we're doing a check-in to kind of see what's going on in her life. Now, just real quick before I hand it over to Cami, she was episode 16. So if you haven't seen her episode, listen to her episode, then it's episode 16 last year, 2023. Go check it out. It's a powerful one. And when last we talked to Cami, she was talking to us about doing big, scary things and, challenging the belief that you have to believe in something before you can achieve it. So that's just a little bit of a teaser back to your episode. But Cami, we're glad to have you here and really excited to kind of hear what's going on in your world. What's been happening since you were last with us.
Oh my God, Paul. Thank you for having me here. This is exciting stuff you're doing. All your ideas about how to do this.
Thank you.
Um, Gosh, what's going on? So many things. Honestly, when you say that to me, the first thing I want to say is that my younger son just got back from trekking across like Patagonia.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
yeah, I just saw him. I think it's so cool when I see people, especially, my child, doing something that's so to me so bold. So much when you talked about like doing big things and believing you can do it. Like I'm just so impressed to watch people like him who are like maybe nervous, maybe have some self-talk, but do it anyway.
Mm.
And just so boldly doing something that I am not sure I would do. Um, so that was very exciting to see.
That's cool. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
what's you said boldly, and you said it's something that you didn't think you would do, but like, what's the most exciting thing about it for you?
Um, Seeing well, like you do, traveling to places that are like not inside the United States and are different. And for him, interestingly enough, like I think for me, a lot of it was the outdoorsiness that would have been not
Mm.
great for me. Not that I don't like the outdoors, but the sleeping on the ground and stuff, in the rain, apparently. But for
Wow.
him, and I really understand this too, like that there was a different language being spoken. And the way it feels, I don't know if you've had this experience like in your travels, but I went to France once, and the way that it feels when I keep making this motion, right? Like that it closes down, it makes your world feel like it closes down a little bit. Like
Mm.
I think we take so much for granted the fact that we can understand people around us, and that makes us feel connected to other people, even if we don't know them and we're not talking to them,
Yeah.
and how cut off you can feel if you don't understand what the people around you are saying.
Hmm. Oh, it's so true. And this episode isn't about me, but I'm literally
Yeah,
immersing myself in that because I have been learning Spanish. Estoy aprendiendo español ahora, with the goal of building up to fluency. But I had to finally
yeah,
face the realization that that wasn't going to happen in a year. I had to get comfortable with a slow, simmering process. So, but yes, the
yeah,
language thing, how you are when you yourself in someone else's language, and then when you try to learn it, and then all the feelings that
yeah,
come in. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I feel like that's a metaphor for something of like what it means to step into something you really don't understand or have an experience of.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Well, so you're living vicariously through your son, and
Apparently,
yeah, and but still experiencing some of the things right through him.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah, yeah. It's pretty cool because when the other thing I always am wanting to say about what's new for me and next for me is like my coach training program, which, as you know, is a big deal in my life
Hmm.
because it's a year-long program. And then I spend like 6 months finding people to be in it, which is an exciting and amazing experience. I see it. I had a coach once, Megan Moore, uh, and we talked about what it was like to enroll for this program and how it's really like not at all like sales in the sense that we came up with this metaphor that it's like an Easter egg hunt, which means that I'm not looking to pick up stones and make them into Easter eggs. I'm not looking to pick up, bird eggs and make them into Easter eggs. I am looking for Easter eggs, right? Like I am looking for those human beings who want to be coaches,
Yeah.
who maybe don't even know they do, right? Like I know that you've brought people in this program who probably didn't know they want to be coaches before you met them,
Mm.
right? And um, but you uncover it, by some magic you uncover that maybe there is this dream in them, either that they either know about or don't know about, and then it feels like being a child on an Easter egg hunt. It feels like I was talking to my team the other day about how like there's the eggs that your parents put like in the crook of the tree that are so obvious because they're just like, we want you to find them. And then there's the ones where they hide like way back in the bushes that you maybe don't find till next year. You know, I think I found the ones in the crook of the tree, and now I'm looking for the ones under the bushes.
Yeah. Well, and if I can add a little something to that too, because I think it's important since this is going out there for the world to see, right? Is,
Mm,
there's a lot of different types of professions out there that come with similar types of programs or schools or whatever, people want to call them. But I think it's important, and this is what I value so much about your program and why I'm so glad you brought it up, is it's not a sales, let's get butts in seats kind of program, right? There's a
yeah,
lot of businesses out there, and I understand that some businesses, like, that's exactly what they're in business for, who it's all about volume, right? And it's about
mm,
the sale, and it's about the revenue and the income. And yours is about finding the people who are really interested in like taking on this new path in life and are ready to take that step. And like you're
yeah.
there. I see you as kind of like the oh gosh, I don't want to go against your Easter egg metaphor, but like
Go
you're
ahead.
you're there on the path when people are ready to like take that path, right? But you're not
Mm,
running down the road trying to convince everybody that they need to become a coach or to go down that
yeah,
path.
yeah,
Maybe somebody's expressed interest, and so, well, let's have more of a conversation about it, right? But
yeah,
yeah, it's not a commodity where you're just like, anybody's a customer as long as I get your money. It's Easter eggs
yeah.
is such an astute visual for that.
Yeah, we're very discerning, and I'm July 27 is the beginning of the next one. This is
Mhm.
our fifth year, our fifth program. And by the way, we've trained 50 coaches, Paul.
That is
Um,
awesome.
I know. And so each year I learn to be more discerning because I don't want people to come into it and decide they don't want to do it. I want people to go all the way beyond the end of this program and beyond, like to their dream. I don't
Mhm.
want them to come in and go like, this is not what I thought it was. So yeah, I think you're right. It's not a commodity. It's not a butts and seats. It's very much um, we are here for those people who want it and finding those people, getting the word out. There are many demographics that actually don't even really know about coaching.
Mhm.
And we're all about like diversity and inclusion and all of that, and finding the demographics that maybe don't know what this is yet. And that's why I've been going on podcasts and expanding my reach on Instagram and things like that, and having people share to a different demographic because I want this to be available to everybody because it's so powerful, as you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll still never forget, and if I said this on the podcast and I'm duplicating myself, then sorry, not sorry. Um, but it's like the message that I share, when I'm out there talking to people who are interested in becoming coaches or curious, if you have that, you said this in class, right? And this was triggered me to make some big changes in my life. But if you have that secret goal or you have that secret kind of like ambition, you said, say it out loud. Say it out
Mm,
loud into as many people as possible. Because if you declare it and put it into the universe, then it'll put it in motion. And quite a number of our most recent guests this year have kind of exemplified that same premise, that same principle. It's like, I don't know when, where, or how, or if I'm going to get it, but I'm going to put it into motion by speaking it into the universe. And so, like, if you are listening to this and you've been even the slightest bit curious about, maybe someday I'll be a coach, or, I've been looking at all these people that I know who are getting trained as coaches, and you're curious, then like do the dig. Talk to Cami, to you, talk
Yeah.
to any one of us, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It
explore.
doesn't, the thing of it is, it doesn't cost you anything because
Mm-mm.
we are not salespeople. These people that talk on behalf of my program were trained by me, and I am not a salesperson. I am
Mhm.
not about trying to force people into having things that they don't want. Like my metaphor is always, or my example, I don't know if that's right, is like in the olden days, I don't know how long ago, but the carpet cleaner salesman would bring like the machine. And my metaphor is like they would try to sell it to you even if you didn't have a carpet.
Yeah. Or
And
they'd
that's
make the mess on your carpet. They ruin your carpet to
that's
force
right.
you to let them do the demonstration.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're not, that's not what we're about, you know? We're about
Mm.
really and so my point about what you were saying about like talk to us. Like I think people get value just out of the conversation, and that's all we want. The cool thing about coaches is, and maybe this is the basis of all this, Paul, coaches want you to have what you want to have.
Mm.
That's it. We don't want you to have what we want you to have. We want you to have what you want to have. And that's why talking to a coach or someone in our program is so valuable because all we're going to do is take a stand for you to go get what you want. We're not trying to convince you to do something you don't want to do.
Mm.
So
That's
I'm just very proud of that.
yeah. Oh, and you should be. I mean, again, I'm biased. I've been through the program, but I believe it's a justified bias. I know so many people who have been through the program, my own classmates, and some of the alumni that have followed, and you just see the transformation that happens,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such an honor to watch, to be a
Yeah.
part of that. Yeah.
So, I mean, you brought it up. Give us the details. Like, what would you say
Mm,
if somebody's listening to this and they're curious and they want to talk to you about the coach training program or any of the other types of
yeah.
things that you can offer? What would you share?
Okay. In regard to the program, I don't think I would share the logistics so much, other than to say it's a year-long program and it's in Sacramento. But it really is transformative, right? Like it is and it's also immersive, as you said about the Spanish experience. Like it's immersive. Like you
Mhm.
be coach when you walk in the door, and I think that's our program is a year long. Many other programs are not in person, so ours is very distinct in that regard. And I think that's a much better way to train coaches. Not saying the other programs don't train them well, but also it's longer so that you get more practice, so that you
Mhm.
really have a running start when you get out, right? I don't think you come out of any program being like this great coach. I think you come out with a bare understanding and experience level.
Mhm.
So people go through it to become professional coaches. Sometimes they go through it just for the transformative experience, honestly, the personal growth. Some people go through it to become coach style leaders. So learning how to be a coach inside your organization. Um, so it does start in July. And I do want to say that in April, we are doing a half day program called Coach Style Leadership. So that's a good place for people to get introduced to it also, where we teach coaching skills. I'm going to say if people are listening and they want more, like go on my Instagram with Learning Coaching, because we also have another series coming up called Game Changers, which is Zoom series. So
Mhm.
there's all these like accessibility points, right? Like you could be anywhere and go on the Game Changer because it's on Zoom. And again, you're going to be given coaching tools because we're all about like providing value to people. Or you can be in Sacramento and do it live. So there's like a lot of ways in.
Yeah. Well, I'd love to jump in and just acknowledge something here too, because
Mm,
when you were on the podcast with your episode last year, the story you shared with us was way back in the beginning. Could I possibly do this? You were challenged by your mom and
mm,
others to start this coach training program to do or to train some coaches, right? Without even knowing where it was
yeah,
going to go. And now fast forward, not just, since the beginning, but even since that episode, just look, you said 50 graduates so far. You're on, this is year 5 or 6?
it's gonna be
5?
it's gonna be year 5. Yeah,
Year 5 of the cohorts. And now, like, your reach is expanded. You've got all these additional types of programs that are available. I mean, look at how it's grown and look at the reach that you've had, just
yeah,
the arc from that
yeah.
beginning point that you shared with us.
I feel so fortunate. And if you think about these 50 people I know, many of them became professional coaches, many of them did not. So they're like every profession, many different walks of life. It's just so cool to have a community that is so broad
Hmm.
and getting even broader as we intentionally become. become more diverse and inclusive and all of that, in so many ways, right? Like we have a big scholarship fund push that we're running, so that we get socioeconomic diversity. And you go back to what I was saying before, I really have this vision that all different kinds of people can do this work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I would like to also add, like, in not just the coaches, but like you said, the people who didn't necessarily start a coaching practice, everybody's modeling the skills, right? Everybody is
Mm,
showing what it means to be a good listener, what it means to really allow space for somebody else to share and talk and communicate, and whether it's listening, reflecting, acknowledging, asking curious questions. That's the thing that's being put into the world, whether it's in the
mm,
context of a coaching practice or whether it's just somebody being a more effective leader or
yeah.
demonstrating an expanded level of humanity. And I think to bring it full circle, that's what attracts people. It's when people
Mm,
see those skills being used by other empathetic and caring human beings that it makes them curious.
ah, such a good point, Paul. Such a good
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and you would know because you are a person who attracts people who want to do this kind of work.
It's true. I have a lot of conversations with people. Like I say, I don't go
Yeah,
out and find them. The Easter eggs come to me, and I'm
it's
always
true.
very happy to share. Well,
Why do you
Cami,
think that is? Wait, why do you think that is? Let me ask you a question, Paul.
oh, we're at the end of our time. Tell me the question you were going to ask, and then we'll make
Um,
an agreement if we're going to run a few minutes.
what do you think it is that attracts people who might want to be coaches to you,
Hmm.
specifically you?
Hmm. My first reaction is, well, we'd have to ask them, right? Because
Mm,
it's really more important what they would say. What I believe they would say is that one of the things that I learned the most from the program was really taking my listening skills up to just a
mm,
much bigger level. Like I was always the friend that people would talk to, or entrust with their secrets and so forth. But just this, I've really developed, and I've been given a lot of feedback that holding space and being able to really listen to people and let them truly kind of express themselves and
yeah,
making it safe and giving people permission. I think that's two key words that have come up. So I think that's why people talk to me about
that
coaching.
makes
It's like
sense.
they
Yeah,
see I've done it, and see that I've learned those skills, and I think they want those skills too.
yeah, yes,
Yeah.
I think that's really true. The number one thing I get from people, whether as individual clients, for me as a coach or in the program or anything, number one thing they want, better communication, always.
Always. Always. Well, Cami, we are at the end. I'm going to
Okay.
put a description under this video with some links. So, already have your website and your Instagram. Anything else you would want to share? Where can people find you that you would update since before? And I'm noticing, by the way, just for fun, when I keep flipping this, it's my cord and the virtual background is hiding it. I'm not flipping my hair.
Yeah, that would
Anyway,
be funny. That would be
sorry.
funny. Just flipping your hair.
Oh
Um,
my gosh.
it's
Yeah.
gonna be this. It's gonna be the same. I'm on Instagram a lot, McLaren Coaching. And if you go on there, I have a link tree, and it's got everything. It's got like this podcast, the prior one. It's got my website. It's got the coach training program. It's got all many of the podcasts that I've done. So I think that's the best jumping off point.
Okay. Wonderful. Well, we will talk more in the future. These are meant to be short episodes, and you've given
Yeah,
us plenty, and I'm so glad we caught up with you. I'm so glad to hear the energy behind this next program. Obviously, you and I talk on a regular basis, but I
yeah.
hope I don't hope, I anticipate that some folks are going to reach out to you, and of course, I'll always be there to open the gate for them too. So,
Thank you, Paul. I
have
appreciate what you do in this world. I really, really do.
Thank you. It's very important to me. So I'm very passionate about it and also modeling it. So
I see that. I see that.
have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you. You too.